All right, so today, the final day, we're looking at order of operations. Which math operation, arithmetic operation do you do first? It was an acronym that you've learned since elementary school called BEDMAS or PEDMAS, depending on what your teacher were. What did the B stand for?
Brackets.
Brackets. That is the first thing you look for. All right, now, once you get into grade 9 and grade 10 and grade 11, when you're working with brackets, sometimes you have multiple brackets. So you identify the most outward bracket, the bracket on the outside, and you work from the inside of that bracket outwards. And we'll do some examples showing that. Right? So start from the inside of the bracket and you work your way outward. All right. Now that you're in grade 9, you know what an E stands for. What does E stand for? Exponents. That is the second tier. So you do brackets and you do exponents. All right. D for division and M for multiplication. And division does not become before multiplication. This helps the acronym. But these are tied steps. When things are tied, you read them from left to right. Whatever comes first, left to right. Okay? What do the last two stand for? Yeah, addition and subtraction. And once again, these are also tied steps. So you have two of these come right next to each other. You read it from left to right. That's it. Okay. So one of the things that's not mentioned in here is negatives. When you have multiple negatives, let's deal with the negatives first, right? That's just simplifying before we do any of the calculations. And I saw a few people making some mistakes on the quiz on this. All right. Is there any negatives that we can simplify to make a positive?
Yeah.
Yes, Hannah, which ones?
1/6.
Yeah.
Negative 1/6.
So these two negatives are on the same fraction. So you got, when you're adding and subtracting, that's what these are. We can't take a negative from one fraction and cancel it out with another fraction. You have to stick it to just the negatives on one fraction. So just those two negatives cancel each other to make positive. So this negative right here remains, and the negative in front of the 5/8 remains. Okay? I'll bring that up a little bit higher. Negative 5/8. Okay, so now we go through our BEDMAS order. So what calculation do we go? Remember, brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, then subtraction. What do we do here? Right? I've already cleaned up the brackets, right? When I was writing my things down, there was nothing to do inside the brackets. The brackets just helped identify negative and positive. Izzy?
Wouldn't you go left to right now?
Yeah, you go to left to right, right? Now, because they're all adding and subtracting, right? So we do these two, right? Now, at the grade 9 level, I like for you to think one step ahead. Well, after we added these, we're gonna subtract these, right? So when you're adding and subtracting, we look for a common denominator. So instead of looking for just a common denominator for 8 and 6 here, why not let's find the common denominator for all of these so we don't have to do it again at the end. Right? So instead of combining these two, find a common denominator, then whatever this makes, find a common denominator with the 4, becomes more work. So looking at all our denominators, 8, 6, they can all equal 24, right? So the first one, we can multiply 8 times 3, the top and bottom, to make 24. And I'll move the negative to the numerator here, 24. The second one, we can multiply it by 4 to make 24. So 4/24. You all good there? 60/24. Okay, and a little equals. So now we combine. No, thank you, Render. All right. Now we combine these. We're reading left to right. What does that become?
Negative 11 and 24.
Yeah, negative 11.
Negative 11. Negative 15 plus 4 is a negative 11, and the 24 remains. And we bring down the 60 over 24.
Why aren't you just doing the 60 with negative 7?
You could. You could. I'm just doing it one step at a time, right?
Negative 71.
Yeah, so you have a negative 11. Oops. A negative 11 and negative 60, right? These two negatives don't cancel each other out. We're adding and subtracting. They're on different fractions, right? So they, when combined, make negative 71 over 24. And we look at that, and we go, hey, can this be simplified? And 71, I know, is a prime number. So I know that can't be reduced since it's a prime number. Okay. That's it, right? So we're only going to do like 4 examples, I think, today, just because you know all the steps. It's just a matter of putting it all together. Okay. Going over to the right. What do we do first? What do you think, Harmon?
Brackets?
Yeah, there's lots of brackets. Which brackets?
Left to right?
Yeah. But do I do this bracket, this bracket, this bracket, which bracket? Right? Yes, Riley?
So you do the 27 over 5 divided by negative 3 over 2.
Okay, yeah. Okay, what I was trying to get at is you want to do these square brackets first and look inside these square brackets. Then, yes, Riley was right. Within these square brackets, we have a division, and we want to do this division first. Right? Okay. So when we're doing division, we go 27 over 5, right? And we go, what do we do with the second fraction?
Flip it.
Flip it, right? So that becomes a 2 over 3 with a negative sign, right? And I'm just going to leave it this, and then I can move everything down and combine this, do this calculation, right? This is where you can just multiply the tops together and multiply the bottoms together, then reduce, or we look at it first and see if we can do any cross reducing. Is there any reducing that we can do?
3 and 27.
3 and 27. So 3 goes into itself once, and 27 goes into it 9 times. Okay. And I think that's it. So we multiply the tops together. That's negative 18. Multiply the bottoms together. We have a 5. Okay. Now we bring the rest of everything down. Well, this coming down is negative 17 over 5 with a minus sign in between here. Bringing this one down times a half. Okay. What do we do?
Finish
No.
off the bracket.
We need to finish off that bracket, right? So in here is this we need to combine together.
Why
But
do
n-
we need the brackets?
Hmm?
I don't know. Why do we need the brackets?
Well, the brackets are telling us that we want to multiply this first, right?
Yeah, but it's around like basically the whole equation.
Oh, around most of it, yeah, except for the half, right? So do everything except for the half, then multiply by a half. Yes, Hannah. Sorry, not Hannah. Izzy. Sorry, yeah.
It would equal 1 5.
1 over 5, yes. Right? So right here we have 2 negatives that when combined make a positive, right? So this combines to make a positive. So you have negative 17 plus 18, which is 1 over 5. And we still have this multiplied by a half there. Okay. Now what do we do? How do we multiply fractions?
Where did you get the 1 from? No, where did you get the 1 over 5 from?
What's 17?
Negative 17 plus 18. Alright, it's the 1. Alright. So how do we multiply fractions?
You have to find the common denominator.
Nope. That's for adding and subtracting.
Oh,
Right? So this is the hard part. Like you guys probably did really well on the multiplication quiz, really well on the division quiz. Now when you're putting all the things together, this is where you start making mistakes. Yes, Izzy?
would you do it like 5 and 2 both go to 10? And then it would be 1 over 10?
Yeah, 1 over 10. So when you're multiplying fractions, you multiply the tops together, you multiply the bottoms together. So 1 times 1, 1, 5 times 2, 10. Right? So that is our final answer, and that can't be reduced any further. Okay. Oh yeah. 4 questions, man. You can do it. All right, Harinder. What do we do first?
Brackets, let me guess.
What shape?
Huh?
What shape of brackets? I see circle brackets. I see square brackets.
Square one.
The square ones. Okay. Inside the square ones, we need to combine things together. And I see multiple negatives. Can I cancel these negatives out?
No.
Yeah, it would be a positive.
No, you can't, 'cause they're not by each other.
No, you can't.
You don't have time to.
Only when you're multiplying and dividing, right? These are in different terms.
I'm a mathematician.
All right. Good. So our answer is going to be negative number. So, Harinder, when we combine these together, can I just add the tops together?
No.
What do we need to do first?
You need to see what goes into 5 and 4.
Yeah, so common denominator, what would that be? 20.
4 times 5 and 5 times 4.
So we need to multiply this one by 4. We need to multiply this one by 5. Let's write these out. So multiply the top one by 4 gives us negative 8 over 20. And we have our plus sign. And our next fraction, negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. 4 times 5 is 20. We still have these square brackets. We have this division symbol. We have this negative 3 over 7. Okay. Now what? Common denominator. We got it. You gonna finish this off, right, Harinder?
Try my best.
Yeah. So what does that square brackets finish off to?
You plus them, I don't know.
You plus them, and what is
Plus
it?
8 into negative 5 to negative 5.
Yeah.
Right, negative 13 over 20.
Yes, that's right. Negative 8 plus negative 5 is negative 13 over 20. Divided by negative 3 over 7. Okay. So we want to take over for Harinder?
And wait up, let me just catch up real quick. My ratio's missing.
All right.
You flip it.
Yeah, we flip it. Thank you, Harmon. Since we're dividing, we don't divide, but we multiply. So
Do we
we
have to keep those brackets, like those big square ones?
no. Once you've done all the calculations inside the brackets, you can get rid of it. So we flip that. We move the negative. Keep it on the top. Okay. And since we're multiplying it, we look in our top numbers versus bottom numbers and see if there's any simplifying that we can do. Is there any simplifying we can do before we multiply these things together? No? So now we just can multiply, and we know our final answer is going to be the lowest terms. So is our final answer going to be negative or positive?
Negative.
No.
It's positive.
It's positive. We have a negative and a negative. When multiplied, make a positive. Right?
God.
So we multiply the tops together. 3 times 20 is 60.
What's 7 times 13?
What is 7 times 13?
That is 91.
Thank you.
No problem.
And 91. And since we simplified before, looking at it, we already know this is in lowest terms. So that is, all right. Okay. Okay. Last one together. What do we do first?
Square bracket.
Square brackets. Okay. Now, what do we do inside of the square brackets first?
Right.
Left to right, right? We do the handle the division. Well, we don't divide. We multiply. So what does that multiplication do?
Wait, what? You said it again? We don't divide.
Yeah, you
we
flip the
multiply it?
division.
Yeah, you don't divide, but you multiply. You flip it, and what am I flipping?
-9 and 32.
Yeah,
You
just
keep that guy as a pumpkin.
just the one to the right of the division symbol. Not everything, just the one to the right. And I'm gonna write this out. -6 over -2. All right, so I flipped it all. I'm just gonna work with inside this bracket, and I'll move everything else down.
Wait, that's not a negative. I thought 2 negatives is a positive.
Yeah, now we have to deal with that. Okay, so Harinder, you notice there's lots of negatives here, right?
Yeah.
If you look at this, everything is multiplying, right? Inside that square bracket. So we can just look across all the negatives there and determine if the final number inside those square brackets can be positive or negative. Is it going to be positive or negative?
Positive.
It's going to be positive because we have an even number of negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to draw my fraction line, and I know it's going to be positive.
I
Yes.
saw 6 of them.
Uh,
I actually see 6. 1, 2.
inside the square brackets. Yes, Hannah.
So when you have circle brackets inside square brackets, all the negatives will add up.
Yeah, well,
Like, no matter
these circle brackets with nothing in between means multiply.
Yeah.
Right? If there was a plus sign in there, then you couldn't do that. Or a minus sign, you couldn't do that in between there. Okay. So we know this is going to be a positive fraction inside of these square brackets. So it's all multiplying. Instead of just multiplying all the tops together and all the bottoms together and simplifying at the end, we simplify first. So compare any top to any bottom number. Is there anything that we can reduce? Do you see anywhere that we can reduce anything?
3 goes into, 3 and 9.
3 and 9. Awesome. 3 goes into 3 one time, goes into 9 3 times.
And 32 and 2.
32 and 4.
Hannah said 32 and 2, so she spoke up first, so we'll do that one first. So 32 goes into
But you can do
2
4 as
16, all right, and 2 goes into 2 once.
2. 6 and 3.
All right, Harmon says 6 and 3, so 3 goes into itself once, goes into 6 2 times.
16 and 4.
16 and 4.
98.
4 goes into itself once, and 4 goes into 16 4 times. All right. So we're left with a lot of 1s on the bottom, so we can't simplify any further. We just multiply the tops together. 1 times 4 times 2 is 8. Over 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1. And you can just write down 8, but since I have a fraction here which I need to multiply, I'm going to keep that number as a fraction just to make the math look a little bit easier. And I'm going to move the negative for that first fraction up to the top. Okay. What do we do next?
The multiplication.
The multiplication. In between here, there's a multiplication, right? If there's no sign, it means multiply. So is there any reducing that we can do?
Yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah.
2 goes into 2.
No, you're looking at the wrong thing. You're looking at these two numbers here. This one versus this one. That's what you're multiplying. 2 can go into 8. 2 goes into itself once, goes into 8 4 times. Right, and then this then gets reduced to negative 2/3 minus over 1. These all have equal signs, equal signs. Okay. What do we do next?
Find the common denominator.
Find the common denominator. What would the common denominator be?
3.
Or 3.
Yeah, you could say 6, but 3 is a smaller number. All right? So times this one by 3, and we don't have to change the other one. So that negative 2/3 minus 12 over 3. Okay. All right. What's the denominator?
Oh, there's so very F's.
What's our numerator? Negative 14. Yes, there is a tremendous amount of steps here, right? And that's what makes this hard, right? It's not the individual steps, it's being able to combine them all together and be able to sort it in your head which goes first and not making a mistake.